You're listening to CHUO 89.1 FM, University of Ottawa's campus and community radio station.
Indeed, you are listening to CHUO FM 89. This show's called Click Here. My name is Mitchell Caplan. We just heard music there from Fistful of Snacks from the CD called, of course, The Journey. And track we heard was called The Piblocto King. This Saturday, Fairtrade Ottawa is going to be holding a fundraiser called Take a Sip for Fairtrade 2013. To find out more, I'm joined in the studio by Leah Walsh of Fairtrade Ottawa, as well as by Ioana Arbone, who's a musician who's going to be playing at the event. They are both with me in the studio, so welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, now Fairtrade products, I mean, we hear the term thrown around a fair bit. What does that mean? What are we talking about?
We're talking about products that are essentially making sure that the basic rights that we would expect as workers in Canada are observed for people in other parts of the world. So things like making sure people are paid for their work, making sure their working conditions are safe, that there isn't rampant environmental destruction and all of those things that we sort of would expect an ethically produced product to incorporate.
I mean, we've heard about fair trade coffee. We've heard about very specific requirements. I mean, what type of requirements would there be for other products?
It will definitely depend on the product because, of course, every product is grown a little bit differently. Coffee, for instance, specifically is shade grown if it's fair trade, so that it can preserve the biodiversity and the ecosystem is not as drastically impacted that way. Which means
shade grown
means that the coffee is actually grown often beneath, say, fruit trees or what have you, so that there is the natural habitat for the birds and so on, the other wildlife.
So, I mean, how wide a variety of fair trade products are there now?
There's a lot. There's everything from spices to olive oil to bananas to even cotton. You can get clothing that's made out of fair trade cotton now. All sorts of beauty products are hitting the markets. It's actually become quite a large market.
Now, Ioana, you are going to be performing with and as a solo violinist at this event. Tell me a bit about your musical background, because I know you also play in a band, right?
Yes, my band's name is Crystal Coast, and we've been together for. I came into the band about 1 year ago, but the band was formed about 3 years ago.
I saw a clip of it. It was kind of like an indie rock thing, but what you do yourself is more of a classical thing. So are you in both worlds musically?
Yes, I would say that I'm in both worlds since my background is mostly classical.
Okay. So you're going to play something for us. Maybe you could just tell us what you're going to play.
Yes, I'm going to play Partita No. 1 by Bach, Allemanda.
Okay. Well.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much for doing that. I don't think we've ever had classical music live in the studio.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure to bring it to
Yeah,
you.
that was also because when you see it up close, you really feel like the stroke of the instrument and all that. It's almost a bit rougher and more natural than when you hear it on record or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. Hearing music live is very different than listening to a recording.
Now, I don't know how I'm going to jump from that to another question about fair trade, but I know that you are playing at this event, for
Yes.
fair trade, and the goal is to make Ottawa a fair trade city. What does that mean, Leah?
Well, there are a number of goals set forth by Fair Trade Canada, who actually certifies products. So you can also get sort of the stamp of approval for a fair trade town and also a fair trade campus, which many people don't know this, but Ottawa U is actually working towards becoming a fair trade campus also. And so there are 6 goals for a town that you have to hit to become a fair trade town. Municipal support from the councillors, making sure that there's fair trade in the stores available for purchase, reaching out to community groups, making sure that you're doing like what we're doing today, promoting in the media and making sure people are aware, and making sure that we're holding people accountable, that as soon as we get the status, we don't, all of a sudden have a lack of interest in fair trade or anything like that. And also, and I think this is really important, branching out into other sustainable and ethical initiatives as well. So not just making it about fair trade, also encouraging people to be asking other questions. So the local food movement is really big. We do farmers markets in the summer because we recognize that anytime a consumer is asking where their products come from, that's a really positive thing.
So how close are we to being a fair trade city?
We're pretty close, actually. There's been a lot of support in terms of the general population has been very supportive. We have literally thousands of signatures on a petition to City Hall, to the councillors, I guess, specifically, to support a motion of Ottawa becoming a fair trade town. That's sort of a road that we're going down now, is trying to get the councillors on board. And we have had a lot of support, actually, from within the councillors. And just making sure that there's a bunch of fair trade in the stores in Ottawa and making sure people can buy it when they want to. So aside from that, we've got it. So it's pretty close.
Is the biggest roadblock to acceptance of fair trade products, is it cost, or are there other roadblocks?
I think the single most difficult thing as a fair trade advocate that I come across is that oftentimes people don't realize what fair trade actually is. A lot of the time, for instance, people will confuse fair trade and free trade, or they'll think that fair trade and organic are the same or whatever. So I think oftentimes people don't actually recognize the difference between fair trade and other initiatives. When they do, often it is something like the price, which, if you think about it and you actually look at products on the market for comparably quality, if that's even a phrase, products are actually very similar in price between fair trade and non-fair trade. Obviously, if you compare a Mars bar to a Camino bar, there's a quality difference there as well, right? So the price, of course, is going to be different.
Is availability an issue? Like, if we all went fair trade, can we produce on a mass level fair trade products?
Oftentimes, actually, farmers will get fair trade certified and they'll have a surplus of fair trade produce that they actually end up only being able to sell, say, a third of their produce at fair trade prices, and they have to sell the rest at whatever the market price is. And oftentimes it's a big problem for producers. And so on our end, the most valuable thing that we can offer as an advocacy group is making sure that there is the market for fair trade and that consumers are scooping that up so that those producers who are getting certified actually have somewhere to sell their product to.
So to get back to the event happening this Saturday, who do you have lined up aside from Ioana?
Ioana is our first musician of the evening, so we're really excited about her. But we also do have 2 speakers coming in. We've got a fellow from Camino who makes the fair trade chocolate that's so widely available in Ottawa. We also have Paul Dewar, who's the MP for Ottawa Centre, and he's going to be our keynote speaker as well for the event. And we're really excited about that as well.
Sounds good. I've been talking to Leo Walsh of Fair Trade Ottawa, also Ioana Arbone, who's going to be performing at the Fair Trade event Take a Sip for Fair Trade 2013, which is happening Saturday from 7 to 11 p.m. at Cube Gallery, 1285 Wellington. For more information, www.fairtradeottawa.ca. Thanks to both of you for coming by.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to listen to some music now from...